Hello and welcome to this quick guide where I'm going to take a look at the new fire effects in Crayta. So as part of the Cybermechanica Battle Pass, we've seen two additions to Crayta. The first one is this Fireplace Fire and the second one is Fire Torch. So these are two particle effects that you can add to your game world and you can customize them in a lot more ways than previously possible with effects. Let's look at how to add them to the game world. So if I'm in basic mode, I can press L to open my library, navigate to the effects tab, and then look in this effects tab to find fire, fire torch and fireplace, which are the first two fire effects. If I click on either of these, they get added to my hotbar at the bottom. I can then close the library and then place them in my world. So there I've placed fire, and I can also place torch. Now, alternatively, I can head into advanced mode, which is by pressing tab, and then go to the effects tab in the library, find fireplace, click and add that into my game world, and fire torch, and click and add that into my game world. You can see the key difference between the two, whilst they were still alight at the same time, is that the fire torch is just one flame, and the fireplace is multiple flames. So it's a group of flames. The cool thing about these two effects is they're very customizable in new ways that we haven't seen before in Crayta. So to start with, let's take a look at the asset properties of Fireplace. You can change the intensity and the amount of the fire to make it really roaring rambunctious fire. Or we can drop those right back to make it a lot more serene and chilled. You can change the color, including the emissive value, which makes it brighter, appear brighter to our eyes. We can change the emitter, which is the mechanics that is spawning the flames. So this will change the sort of the shape of the fire by changing these values here. And we can also determine whether we want more sparks or less sparks. So more little flyy bits coming off the fire or less. Now that's the basic mode of this fireplace. What happens if we check this advanced checkbox? So if I check that, it doesn't appear like anything is different, but actually if we scroll down in the entity editor on the bottom right corner of the screen, we can see we now have loads more options. So whereas it is customizable from the basic sense, if we check this advanced checkbox, we get even more options. So now not only can we change the shape of the emitter, we can also do cool things like if I check this box, it will use the emitter outline. And I can do something like change the size of it and increase the ratio so that it's now a circle. And what if I just rotate this? We now have some kind of hoop we can jump through. So notice that by checking the emitter outline, I can now change it to just be a spawning on the outline of the emitter, which means I can do cool things like fire circles or magic circles or flaming circles to jump through. So that's a really fun addition. I can also change the shape of the flame in a lot more ways. So I have flame sizes and the flame curve. So the curve is how much more fire there is in the middle of the fire compared to the outside. So you can see I can make it very flat, or I can make it very much that the center of the fire is the brightest part. And I can do things like randomize it in more ways. And finally, I can do a lot of things with the sparks. And I want to let you explore this. The best way to sort of get to grips with this stuff is to really just dive in and play with all of these sliders and see what cool effects you can come up with. Now, let's take a look at the fire torch. So that's just one flame, and a lot of this is identical to the fireplace. And if I check the advanced, you can see that it doesn't have the same amount of customization options with the emitter because it's only one flame. So where we had loads of different options for the shape of the emitter, we don't have that, but we have still got lots of options for things like the spark and the flame itself. So that's a quick guide on how to edit Fireplace and Fire Torch. And you can see in this display here, there's a bunch of different very cool effects that we can come out with just by changing a few of these properties and having a play. The best way to get to grips with it, as I said, is to dive in, add it to your game world and see what you can do with it. I look forward to seeing your very customized fires in Crayta.